I'm like creating this painting and I'm not exactly really sure what it's going to be. I have like an idea and sometimes like a vision of something I can see in my head that I have like a craving to put down and make into reality. Like with this one, for some reason I see like a bit of a faded, maybe chaotic background, and then once it's dried, like a really defined, really like dark, not watercoloured, maybe acrylic or oil paint person looking at the viewer, and there being so much but so little on the painting. I think I really want to portray a sense of craving for connection, but also being more satisfied with solitude. And I find it really hard to connect with others, and I often just start to settle for my own company. But it also gets to the point where it's not like I don't like hanging out with other people. And it's not even that I'm fussy. Like I'm grateful for the people in my life. But I think I am extremely sensitive to the way my body reacts and picks up on things. And if I sense that my body doesn't feel safe, or it doesn't feel like I can be myself, the connection starts to feel like a headache. And I have quite literally got migraines from the stress of forcing myself to like unmask, because I can just, my true self in that moment just doesn't really match the vibe. And I also want to have the courage to just be my true self anyway, and not just do it based on people's vibes, you know? But like, you know, when people say be yourself, I think they imagine people being like, you know, like really out there and just like out of themselves. But I think me being myself is actually quite quiet and very subtle. I think when I'm being myself, I can just like be quiet and not say anything, or be shy. I don't think being shy necessarily like is a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like when I'm being shy, and you could say like the definition of like what I think being shy is for me isn't the definition of being shy. But like for me, being shy means like, you know, being a little bit more intimate and maybe a bit more introspective within myself. And I feel so comfy and so calm when I can just be shy and feel like I don't have to feel guilty about being a bit more shy and a bit more closed, you know? And I think when I'm not being myself, it's when I'm being really loud and I really don't want to be loud, and I'm just feeling like being quiet. And that's really hard. It's like I'm force feeding myself energy which I don't have, and sacrificing myself for others, and I can't do that shit. And back to what I was saying about connection. I'm not waiting for the perfect person. I'm not craving the perfect person. But I think even people who are introverted also need to have someone they can talk to, even if it's one person for like 10 minutes in a week. I think you can't completely shut yourself off to the world, because then things will start to sound crazy and feel crazy. And I think also, like for me, it's like if I get too accustomed to my social anxiety and my fear of having to be vulnerable and connecting with other people, if I start to avoid it, it's like I lose the skill completely, and then it makes trying to connect with others even more daunting, so I put it off for longer. And I know that deep down I really have so much to say, and I would love to have someone who I could just talk to about everything with. But I also have to listen to my body, and if my body feels like someone's energy is off, or like, you know, this person isn't right for me, I'm not just going to you know, open myself up like that. But you know, like at the same time, in order to make connections, you have to also risk a lot of things, like vulnerability and rejection and stuff like that. Connection doesn't just come and click straight away, and I think I have a hard time with that part. And I have a friend who has offered me a chance to connect with not this friend that's coming, someone else, and they're actually a person who I wouldn't mind sharing myself with, but because I'm not used to that, it's fucking hard, and I know that part of me's probably going to sabotage this chance to do the thing that I've been craving, which is like, you know, getting deep with someone. And I'm constantly weighing up, looking after my soul and making sure I'm not forcing myself to, you know, open up, but also trying to understand that you have to kind of get out of your comfort zone in order to make changes. And what's the worst that could actually happen? You know, I think the worst that could happen is that you don't try at all, and then there's always that what if. That what if hurts more, because then it's just like you fantasize about something in your head which you'd never really know the reality or the outcome to. When it comes to art, you have to get used to leaning into risk and fear. I think the moment you stop doing something because you're scared of like ruining a piece of art is the moment you limit yourself to a lot of possibilities, and it can be very emotionally constipating because you're stopping something that really is urging you to express yourself in a way which you just might have never done before. And every time I lean into the intuition and to the fear, I often create something which I didn't realise I really needed to do. And like that thing which I was scared to do, I actually now love more because I didn't even know that I could express myself in that way, you know? And also, it helps me stop worrying too much about the aesthetic part of it. I think when I start to worry about the aesthetic part of it too much, I start to hate my art because it just becomes like a superficial thing. I think it's fine to like, you want to kind of at least to a certain point like how your art looks, but for me that's not really the aim of what I'm doing. I think if I can look at a piece of art and I can see something that I've been trying to articulate through words, but I can finally at least do it through an unspoken form of communication, they're the pieces I love more than pieces I've been like, I hope this looks good, what are other people going to think? Can other people understand what I'm trying to express? Like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.